Okay, welcome back. This is the part three of the human slop. This time around, I'll be making some toast and talking about anxiety, I think. Well, whatever. Who cares? So, first question is, what is anxiety? I have no clue what that is. Make sure, just so you know, disclaimer is that I know nothing about anxiety. I'm not a therapist, physician, I don't know, whatever handles those things. So first we're gonna search Google up what is anxiety from our trusty friend Google. So what is anxiety? Okay, so there's an AI overview. Let's sit down. So anxiety is a natural feeling of unease, worry, or fear about the future events, triggering the body's fight, flight, or freeze response, with physical signs like racing heart, sweating, or tension, and mental signs like restlessness or dread. While normal in small amount to say stay alert, it becomes a problem when excessive and interfering with daily life, leading to anxiety disorders characterized by intense, persistent worry. Okay, common feelings and thoughts. Feeling nervous, tense, or restless. Second, a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. Third, difficulty concentrating or your mind going blank. Fourth, excessive worrying about various things. Okay, that's the four things about the common feelings and thoughts. Now, physical symptoms. First, increased heart rate and rapid breathing. Second, sweating, trembling, or feeling weak. Third, stomach upset, stomach upset or nausea. Fourth, fatigue or trouble sleeping. Okay, that's the four symptoms for physical symptoms. All right, next one. When anxiety becomes a problem, anxiety disorder. So this is where it becomes a problem. First, excessive and persistent, worrying too much about everyday things for extended periods. Second, interference. Anxiety significantly disrupts daily activities, work, or relationship. Third, overwhelming, feeling panicked or intensely worried in the situation that aren't fully threatening. That's the three things when it becomes excessive. Okay, anxiety versus fear. Fear, a response to a specific present threat. Example, seeing a snake. Except I don't get scared from snakes. Ha ha ha. Okay, anxiety is a broader, future-oriented anticipation of potential threats, often unfocused. The key takeaway from this, everyone feels anxious sometimes, but it's mental health concern when it becomes constant, overwhelming, and interferes with your ability to function normally, requiring support. Okay, so from what I understood, let me know if I'm wrong, is that anxiety is just worrying about the future too much to the point you're stuck at life. I guess that's the way I will say it for now. Not sure how true it is, not sure how good I am at this, but I believe I used to have anxiety before. Like when I was that loser of a kid who couldn't do shit. I was kind of anxious all the time. I will skip school and be anxious about that, or I will just worry about school quite often. I think teenagers nowadays mostly, what is it called, my people, are most of the time anxious about their parents and their school or whatever their future. So those are three things. So I'm not gonna. I'll tell you what worked for me. First of all, what I've done is that I've picked up like self-improvement, which is meditation, working out, yada yada, right? Like the typical things. So after that, what happened is that I started meditating a lot. I stopped using my phone because one of the big reasons that we are uncertain or like feel so inadequate and like sucks you know, and because anxiety is probably one of our reasons that we use the most. It's the phone. The phone and the social media makes you feel anxious all the time, I think. Because think about it. You're an average kid, let's say, like my age, 18-year-old, and you go on Instagram and you see these people posting reels about their successful life or being like this super rich, successful, and then you're just there sitting on your ass doing nothing. It makes you, of course, feel anxious about the future. Because who wouldn't? You know, if you see that thing and you don't feel anxious, you gotta be super rich, or like you gotta be the one who's posting those things. And a matter of fact, like even the people who post those things, 9 out of 10 likely to have probably anxiety anyway, because everyone's just having anxiety. It's a new trend. So yeah, well that's that. And about the parents thing, how I fixed that is that I just stopped obeying my parents. But don't be stupid, just like don't be so stupid to the point you like piss off your parents and get kicked out. What I mean is that just you're 18 now. If you're 18 or just teenager, you are allowed to have your own opinions, right? You can go out whenever you want. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Like if you want to experience life, you don't want to be this kind of a shell of a person who cannot do anything, and you have to ask permissions from your parents for everything, right? And that's a kind of miserable existence, I would say, especially at our age, when every one of our friends is going out, having fun, but you are just, at home, cannot do anything because your parents said so. It's like, and then there's the fear of missing up comes in, and then that gives you anxiety as well. It's like, a very weird cycle. So what I advise you to do is that don't disobey your parents to the point like they hate you or something. I mean more like just say what you want to do. Let's say you want to go out with the friends. You just say, "Oh, I'm going out with my friends. Bye," and just leave. You know. The more you ask for permission to do something with from your parents, I think what they do is like they still see you as this baby who needs permission for everything. So they will keep babying you up. And the reason your parents are strict is because they still see you as a kid and they wanna protect you in some kind of way. Because they seen you as a kid. Their first impression of you is like you're a baby infant, right? So they see you as that forever, unless you can change that. So to change that for me, what worked was that I just had to just do my own path. I was like, oh mom, I'm gonna drop out of school, and I did. And for that I got kicked out of school. I mean, from home, but it was fine. It was like kind of the goal. I was gonna kicked out, and I find a job, and I just work, and then come back to my mother with money and then support her anyway. That was kind of the goal. But like she realized a little sooner, so she just took me back in a little later, like after 2 weeks. So that's kind of like what I did to fix my parents. I mean, the fix the parents of the thing that's causing me anxiety all the time. So it kind of took kind of control over my life. I was actually the man. I was responsible for my own self, which is great. My mom, she still loves me. I love her. We still talk like very often these days. I mean, we live in the same house, obviously, but like back then, like what I seen in the teenagers is that their relationship with their parents is just down the hell. Like you don't get it. Maybe you get it because you're that person. Because like what happens is that they don't have a good relationship with their parents. Like every time they're talking, there's always arguing. If they're like just talking normally, just some way, like in some way, they just leads to kind of argument. It's like weird. I never get that part. And like low key, I was just like the same. But I still don't know the reason. Yeah, I think it's like when you talk with your parents and they see you as this baby, they'll talk in this kind of tone of like you're a baby and you hate that and you argue back and your mother doesn't understand why you're angry, so they get angry. And yeah, that's just like a cycle of like just infinite anger. So to stop that anger, first of all, and the second of all, just be your own self. Stop worrying about anxieties and stuff. Just do whatever you want. Go up to your mom, tell them I'm doing this, and then go out and do it. Don't care about the punishment. The punishment is the key. After like a month or two, they'll get used to it and they'll be fine with it. You'll have some degree of freedom. Other than that, you cannot you know, get out of your mother's hand, and like they're not gonna refuse to allow. Like for example, you're going. Let's say you. There's one example of my friend. He gave it to me. So there's two of my friends. They wanted to go move abroad to you go to uni. So they're like about 19, 20 or something, right? And they were making these plans. But one of the friends, one of the two friend, what happened is that. Oh, hold on, I need to focus on making bread. So what happened was that the one friend who suggested the idea stopped being active. He stopped, wanting to go to the abroad to study for uni. The reason was that his parents convinced him not to, right? Before that, he was like, "Oh yeah, I can find the money. I can just work a job. I can do all this. Yeah, I'll do it if I put my mind to it," type stuff. And then his parents, his mother especially, just told him that, "Oh, it's gonna be not good. It's gonna be hard. Like we don't even have money for that." And yada yada. Just like convinced him. They argued for a bit, and then convinced him not to. And then his like kind of response kind of became like, "Hey, yo, dude, like I cannot go to this anymore. We don't even have money. I think I'll just, you study the uni here and then go somewhere else afterwards." It's like, it's like whatever, it's fine. He said those things, and the saddest part is like because he had so much drive and energy and like the goal to accomplish that goal, like beforehand. But after, as soon as the mother said something a little negative about it, and he got convinced, he was like, oh man, that's like it is impossible. I don't have money anymore." That's the part that saddens me the most, I would say, because you were at this age, you have this like dreams to be something, dreams to be, lots of things, but you cannot because your parents just keep stopping you from it. You're like low key, your parents are holding you back, right? But don't take that the wrong way. Respect your parents, obviously. That's one of the key parts. It kind of has to be dependent on respect. You go out on your own thing, but don't do obviously bad or horrible things. Like, let's say you go out and do drugs and stuff. That's like kind of bad. Like you listen to your parents if you're doing that thing. It's like you're stupid. But if you're talking about uni or like having some, just want to go out and like just talk with friends, have experienced life, a little bit experience. Okay, going out and partying a little bit, sure, it's fine. I did that. Smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol in a while, yeah, sure. Like if you go with the right mind, you can kind of stop doing it. You kind of get bored of it. I just need you to get that urge of trying to do it whilst you can, while you're young. Because what I found out on my experience, I don't know if it works for you though. So what I found out is that if I do things early, while the surge is like the urge to do it is while like forming like newly, I just go out and do it. I can because my parents like just they don't care about it now. They're like, "Oh, he's a grown man. He can like do whatever what he wants, right?" So because of that, let's say I have the urge to drink alcohol for the first time, and I go out and drink, and then after I satisfy that urge, I wouldn't feel like I need to do it anymore, right? Oh, it's like kind of disgusting. You can see it from a point of view like, oh, it's kind of mid, right? But if you are like forbidden to do so for like years and years and years on end, you do it like after like few years of trying to drink, what happens is that you just get addicted to it because like it's like the plus, you don't get really addicted to the alcohol, you more so get addicted to the feeling of rebelliousness, right? Like you are defying your parents finally, like I like this power type shit. So that's why most of the kids, like when they drink alcohol, like for the first time after like 2021, they just get like addicted so hard. And like for me, I started drinking like 16, I quit at 18. Like, you know, it's like wonderful. But yeah, that's kind of my experience with, not obeying parents. Because like, there's like a book called Wave the Superior Man. It says like, live as if your father were dead. That kind of explains the whole point. But still be respectful to your parents, love them, no matter what they do to you, don't hate them. Because like in their mind, they're doing the things right for you. Because they see you as this baby who needs protection and all these things. And like, no parent would want it to, well, at least I hope so. No parent would want their baby to go through something bad. That's why. And then you might be saying like, there's my parents are like, she tells me to kill myself. Well, that's kind of like a parent who's like has mental disorder. No sane parent will say that. That's what I think, by the way. That's what I think. The last video, I was claiming things. I forgot to say it was just my opinion. There were like people just like, oh man, you don't know shit about life. I was like, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna listen to their request and then start saying my opinion. Not sure if it'll work for you, but that's what worked for me, right? So yeah, my opinion. I think those are mentally deranged, like almost dying parents. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I think of those, which is not really nice. And what was the other reason, by the way? Okay, schools, yes. That's one of the reasons. So how I fixed school is that I just simply left school, right? But I think there could be a little better approach to this, I think. Because me myself, I'm like a kind of rebellious kid who was like anti-school most of my life, like since I was born, I would say. Anyway, but what I did was that I had this very nice excuse, like my father got sick, and my mother couldn't support the family anymore with the one person salary. So what I did was that I was like, "Oh, mom, though it's gonna be hard to support a family now, mom. So okay, I'll just leave school." Before she can say anything, I just left school, dropped out. More specifically, I dropped out from high school, first grade, which makes me uneducated moron. So it's fine. But I'm supporting family. But like the reason I'm anti-school is that how I said about how the alcohol example, when you're like pushed down, like your urges are suppressed all the time, you just like it grows so much to the point like you can kill someone for it, right? Like you become so like repressed and depressed and then just so oppressed. You'd be like, just man, fuck it, like I'll do whatever it takes to do that thing. And that often leads up to just mass school shooting, or just anger, beating like girlfriends, like just becoming like it's a highway to being angry, basically. It's very it's good. So that's what I think of those. Okay, I didn't talk about the better way for school. So I don't really have experience in this field, but I thought about it a lot. One way to really stop the anxiety and then just stop being depressed about school is that you just get good at school. I mean, it might sound stupid, it's like if you're homeless, buy a house kind of thing. But getting good at school isn't that hard. The school system is like so easy, like there's no problem. The only problem is that you are probably lazy. You're probably arrogant enough to think that, it's like not good for me, whatever. So, what I think is that you just get good at school. And to get good at school, you're just like, oh, I cannot pay attention to school, yada, yada. Like, oh, take off the phone. Go on self-improvement, meditate, Like, those are the things that really help me out. That worked for me, so it might work for you or not, let me know. But what I did was that before I left school, there was a period of time I couldn't leave school. I didn't have a good excuse. I was still that baby who asked for permissions, right? What I did was that I actually started focusing on school, kind of, and stopped using social media quite a lot. I literally broke my phone. Like I had this Samsung A51 blue phone. I was so mad at the phone to the point I just smashed it into pieces and destroyed it. So I didn't have phone for 3 months, and that was probably arguably the best days of my life, because after I broke my phone, after a month, I had this sudden clarity. I understood everything in school. And mind you, the school I went to was this Czech school. What I mean by that is the language spoken there was Czech, and I myself don't really know Czech. I'm Mongolian and English speaker, and even that was like, understandable. I was actually getting good grades for the first time. And then, I was actually starting to enjoy school. I was looking forward to going to school. And then while I was doing that, I got too ahead of myself. And I decided to like, oh man, I'm good at school. So I started focusing on the self-improvement parts, which is the best parts that helped me to get to this. And then I just kind of, start falling down, and I became depressed and anxious again. I didn't know why, because at the time I was doing self-improvement, but I didn't know the real power of that thing. So that was like kind of my mistake, I guess, because I didn't know the real, the reason, the real why I should do it. I just did it and didn't know it worked because of that. I just kind of, put it aside, and I forgot about it for like a year. And then afterwards, I just kind of became this party boy, playboy kind of looking guy who was just like, going around kissing girls, like fucking around, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes all the time. That's what I kind of become, which was kind of sad in a way, but I don't really regret it. I don't really regret it because it was quite the experience I should have experienced, I think, because that taught me lots of life lessons, I would say. Like arguably, like, going out with girls, it's like the more you experience, more you have experience with girls, the more you have experience in life and everything else. Because like when you know more about girls, especially when you know how to talk to them, when you like now you know how to understand them, and then just how to make them happy, yada yada, all those things that girls want. You start to realize more things about yourself. Because it goes like this: the masculine polarity and feminine polarity. Like, there's like feminine is like kind of the mirror, right? You don't really know about yourself unless you're talking to a girl. And you start talking to a girl, she starts mirroring all the bad things you've been hiding from yourself just immediately, right? Not immediately, like you have to be able to learn how to like know that thing. But girls will usually, if they like you or like if they don't, even if they hate you, like just any girls in general, they will just like teach you a lot about yourself and about life and then about girls. And then girls, it's beneficial for your future wife because you need to have experience for your future wife to make her happy, live happily, and your kids to be happy. That's how I think. So that's kind of what happens. So you learn more about masculinity and yourself, and then who you should become. It's really beneficial to just talk with like a lot of girls, but don't be a douchebag and like just fuck around. You can have female friends. I mean, it's a big 2026, dude. The female friends are abundant. They're kind of masculine, so they can be friends with. But the overly feminine ones, it's hard to be friends with because you just get attracted anyway. But even the masculine girls, they have the innate traits. They know what to do, and then they will just like do what the girls are supposed to do when they're talking to a guy. So yeah, it's really helpful for you if you start talking with girls. So I think I've covered everything. Family anxiety, school anxiety, and what was the other anxiety? Yeah, the uncertainty of the future. It was the part about the phones where it's leading you to, leading you to anxiety because you're watching all those people who are way more successful than you. So yeah. Well, I'll add one more thing on that. Is back then when we were evolving in the monkey ages, we lived in shrines. And the people you will see for your whole life is like about 100 people, right? And you compare yourself to them, and by average you'll be like average, normal, or even good, because there's higher chance of you being special from 100 people. But now when you have Instagram and this social media, and you're scrolling through, seeing millions of faces, and then your brain is like stupid enough to think that's like your tribe members or something. So they just think, oh man, you're like the lowest of the pyramid in this scheme, I guess. What scheme? Like, oh, the hierarchical pyramid, I think. So that's why you're kind of anxious. You want to do something better. Like, don't push yourself too much. Surround yourself with like better friends, like real friends. I talked about this in a video. It's like surround yourself with the real friends, not a shell friend or an anchor friend, and you'll be good. And I'm gonna eat my breakfast, and then I'm gonna start recording a video about what, depression or whatever, like about more school system. I don't know. Actually, you guys, if anyone's watching this thing, human slop, comment me a question so I don't have to Google my own questions all the time. So it'll be real more ideal for me. Thank you. Like and subscribe and follow the channel for more. Wait, what is it again? I don't know. But yeah, I just want to try it because when you say subscribe, the button lights up. I'm gonna check it out later.